Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TraderMerlin Show. I am back. I'm somewhat rested. It's a fun trip. For those of you who may not know, I was in Alaska for the last week. Did an Alaskan cruise. We can talk a little bit about that if you guys are interested. But yeah, welcome back. Good to see you, Jim, Jeff. We got Thomasina, Ricardo. I see by the dip. And Glenn, first time in a while, huh? Well, it's been a first time in a while for me. A little bit rusty today. And Big Eb. Good to see you, Big Eb. The interesting thing about this trip is unless you pay a ton of money, you're not getting internet or any sort of services like that. So I went pretty much the entire trip without having internet, which was it was fun. And then you come back and you see a lot of the different things that have gone on in the financial market. So we'll talk a bit about that today. I don't know if anybody has done these Alaskan cruises. Cruises, as you know, they're a lot of fun. They're all inclusive, but it's kind of a misleading thing because you think it's all inclusive, but once you get on that boat, they're charging you for so many other things. If you want the drink package, you got to pay for that. You want soda, you got to pay for that. You want to do the special dinners, you got to pay for all that stuff. And then if anybody in here has ever been to Skagway, Alaska, it's a massive port that a lot of these cruise ships go to. And I think that this whole town is literally paid and run by the cruise ships themselves, because there is no way this town of 1,100 people is going to survive in this remote spot of the world, year in and year round. It's just not going to happen. So what happened was they did, there was 4 cruise ships that landed at once, so roughly 12,000 people in a town that has a population of 1,000. So you can imagine, it was just a money pit, a total trap, a tourist trap beyond belief. But I had a good time anyway. The Mets, 928, and there should be a big in-person event for 1,000. Yeah. VB, we could do an in-person event, but see, when you have these companies do in-person events, they're fun. They're a lot of fun to do, but there's always a sales angle, right? When you go to these big events, whether it's Trader's Army or Teach Me to Trade or Trading Academy, when you go to these big events, there's always a sales angle. They have to make money because they're spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to put on these big events and give you all kinds of food and all that extra stuff. I can't do that. I'm not selling anything. I got nothing to sell you, so there's no way for me to generate revenue from doing that. And basically, the assumption would be that I'm just going to be paying for everything out of my pocket. I'm kind. I'm not that kind. So no big in-person event yet. Anyway, if this matures and ever gets to the point of actually making some money, then I'd be totally open to that because otherwise it's coming out of my pocket. Anyway, nice picture here. This was not mine. This is an AI generated picture. I haven't even had time to download my photos from the trip today, so I will get that maybe for a weekend edition show. I'll show you some of the pictures there. So let's start off with the big news. Obviously, you guys are much more in tune with what's happened over the past week because I haven't even looked at the markets other than my positions when I got to land in Alaska so I could check out what's going on. Backyard barbecue at my place. Thomasina says, if I win the lottery, for sure. Actually, what I would do if I won the lottery, it would be a cruise. So I'd probably rent out the entire cruise ship and then turn it into a fun party event, bring in a bunch of great traders that would just teach you guys as much as you wanted to know and it wouldn't cost you a damn thing. That's the way it should be, right? I think that the way it should work is, and it's an idea that's been in my mind, to create a financial education school that is 100% free. Everything is completely free. All the stocks, options, futures, forex, cryptocurrencies, real estate, and actually as a service to the American people to have all this financial education for free. Unfortunately, the way it is today is everybody wants to charge you for all this financial information, much of which that content is coming from people who are actually losing money and not even really trading for a living. So to me, it would be great to have, a site where you would go to and you want to learn anything about financial markets, that's on you. Now, of course, you'd have to go open your accounts and manage it and run it as you wish, but, why should you pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for something that, you're probably going to struggle with unless you really put your mind to it. Anyway, so let's go to the big story. That was this one here. Thank you, AI, for my picture today, which was Elon Musk and an Apple. For those who may not have seen what went on yesterday, there was the announcement that OpenAI is going to be integrated into Apple. And this is a huge improvement for Apple. We've talked about it before. What are they really going to do to improve their phone, right? What are they going to add to the iPhone, whatever, 16, 17, 18 models that come out that sets it up and causes it to have a income surge? And I didn't really see anything on the horizon that would be that way. We all know that these companies are going to go more AI. We know that Microsoft's headed that way. You know that Amazon's going that way. Microsoft, big time investments in it and kind of pushing that lead with AI. Well, what was Apple doing? Apple was buying a lot of chips from Nvidia, but what do they actually do? And now they're going to integrate OpenAI into their computer, which is the last time they had a big revolution, they did an upgrade to the system that was not backwards compatible. So if you want all this new functionality, you want to add AI into every single aspect of the applications on your iPhone, you're going to have AI, Apple 15 and higher. So all of you that have got the 12, 13, 14s, you won't be able to use any of these new upgraded features and functions that include OpenAI. So what that will do is that will most likely cause a huge surge in people upgrading their phones, which of course is a massive revenue bump for Apple. And if we look at their chart today, here's Apple up 7.26%. Basically, this saved our market. I mean, not that the market was tanking. It was certainly down for a while, but this was ripping to the upside today because of, I guess, the understanding that it's not going to work with anything older than Apple iPhone 15 Pro. Not even a regular 15. It has to be the 15 Pro. So interesting to me to see this move. It sounds great on paper. It looks great. Fantastic, right? Let's see Apple continue to surge here. Fine. That's great for the markets overall. And I think it just goes to show the importance of the integration of AI into business models that we have today. Of course, Apple, one of the largest operating systems in the world, bring it in there. Then you had Elon Musk, who is arguably, next to Jerome Powell, the most powerful man in the world with regards to business and what he can do. So for me, this is really interesting, and it's setting up to do wild things for our market. For those that may not have read it, Elon Musk said this is a massive security breach. Elon Musk has already sued OpenAI because they've deviated from their mission. Elon Musk was a founder of OpenAI with the mission of this is going to be a non-profit company that's going to help humanity. And then Sam Altman switched it, and now it's a private enterprise. It's for profit. So Elon Musk sued for that. I don't know what the outcome of that lawsuit was or if it's still ongoing or whatever, but he did sue them for that. So now you have OpenAI, which from all the things I've read and talked about with my friends in the computer industry is a really bad thing, because once OpenAI gets your information, everything is going to be brought into OpenAI's algorithm, and now your data, your conversations, anything that's ever been there can now be part of OpenAI. And this is part of Elon Musk's concern. He said if this does go through, then he will ban all iPhones at all of his companies. You'll have to lock them in when you get into the building in a Faraday cage because it's just a security breach for him. So here's a power struggle between the second largest company in the world and arguably one of the most influential men in the world. Not the most powerful, not the richest yet, but he may be there soon with all of his companies combined. So what does it mean for you and me? I think what it means is extreme volatility. I'd be really careful here because I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you think happens when push comes to shove? Big Eb says, big firms like Apple have some smart mofos thinking up the stuff. Yep. It's a brilliant move on Apple. But if you have an opponent, somebody against you as prominent as Elon Musk, who could instantly say, we're not going to allow Twitter on any Apple devices, which you would think actually Apple may do that, right, to kind of counterattack Elon Musk. Who wins here? There's people who, I have to be honest. Thanks, Liz. Good to be back. I'll be honest. I would be somewhat open to switching devices. I would rather follow Elon Musk than Tim Cook and the Apple folks. I'm just one of those people who just doesn't really like Apple, but I'm kind of feel like I'm trapped in that ecosystem. But if push came to shove, I probably would go with Elon Musk. Now, he has X.AI, which is his AI version of OpenAI, and maybe that will be a more powerful entity down the road, because the big concerns are that once OpenAI gets the data, whether that's personal data, your emails, etc., or just anything on your device data collection-wise, that now gets put into the OpenAI algorithm. And let's be honest, you may not want to have your emails read by OpenAI. You may not want to have confidential documents sent to you from your employer that are sitting in your inbox or on your iPhone that now get read by OpenAI. Now, Apple has made it very clear. Nope, we're encrypting everything. You choose what you share with OpenAI. It's going to be safe and effective for you. Let me ask you this. How many of you believe Apple when they say that OpenAI will not have access to your information, it will not be looking at your data, will not be collecting it? How many of you believe that? How many of you believe that? It's a lose for both if they're against each other. Steve, I agree with you 100%. It's a lose-lose from it's tricky because it's a lose-lose from a business perspective. They'll both lose revenue from it, but it's a win-win for society, I think, because it really stresses the importance of privacy and of data collection. And I'm assuming most of you would not trust that as well. Yeah, they tell me, hell no. I wouldn't either. I think that if I'm connecting an electronic device to the internet, no matter how encrypted or private it is, I feel like somebody's scoping me out and watching me. So I would not feel comfortable with it. Now, granted, I'm not doing anything illegal, but what if you are? I mean, just a simple thing as sending a text like, hey, I want to buy that, does your buddy Juan have that kilo of cocaine he wants to sell me? Boom, you're instantly now in OpenAI's discussion. Does that get service to federal agencies? Who knows what happens there. Steve says yes from business. You trust them for business and knowing that your data is safe. Okay, well, there are some people that will believe that. I'm definitely in the no camp. I believe that my data is going to be breached potentially. And again, I'm not doing anything illegal, but I think there's a lot of people that want to have their privacy and know that my devices are my devices, my information. Just look at like Gmail. Does Google have access to every single thing in your Gmail account? Yeah, 100%. Now, we like to think that it's secure. And that's within that Apple ecosystem, right, is all that data. The concern is now this is such a public-facing separate business that Apple does not control the encryption of or use of OpenAI's data. They're using OpenAI to help boost their devices, productivity, product suites, etc. But they don't really control what OpenAI does with all this data. So now they're opening up their doors to it. I think it's sketchy. Steve says, but I trust no one. It's right. In Italian, we say, non mi fido di nessuno. Let's see what else. I think nowadays it's all being shared. I kind of agree with you there, Steve, but I don't want to open it up to OpenAI. I definitely stand behind Elon Musk. There's a I can't remember her name. She's a fantastic girl I interviewed years ago. She was named the Bitcoin Girl. I interviewed her back in 2014 or 15. We talked about Bitcoin way back then. She now does all about data privacy and issues. So I've reached out to her a couple times, see if I can get her on the program, but haven't had any luck with that one. So what does it mean for Apple? I think it means a huge boom for Apple because you have all these people that have older versions of the iPhone. I was hanging out with my brother on this cruise, and he's got like an iPhone 12. I'm like, man, I think it's archaic. He can't do anything on that. But if he wants to enjoy any of these features and functionality, he'll have to upgrade. And you're going to see a big push for that, which means that over the next year, depending on when Apple integrates and rolls out their new version of the iPhone, I expect to see some pretty significant numbers. And I think that's why you saw this chart do this today. As you can see, Apple breaking through to all-time highs again today. We'll put this on, let's say, a weekly chart here to make it a little less compact. But it's these types of developments that cause you to upgrade the whole system that they have. Integrating that into all their application suites, that'll bring in a lot of new revenue, big new sales revenue for them. So I think this is a huge win for Apple. What really depends, at least the wild card for me, is what's the backlash from this? Is there pushback from the community? Is there pushback from other people other than Elon Musk? Elon Musk, for a fault, if you are a shareholder in any of his companies, this is a wild ride because he'll say things, he doesn't care. He doesn't care if it impacts his business right now because he says what he believes is right. And I agree with Elon Musk on this privacy issue. I think it is a big security concern. Think of Elon Musk. If now OpenAI can access, features and data on your phone, does that now give it access to the cameras? They're rolling through SpaceX's, employees are going through SpaceX meetings and listening to the audio and all that stuff. Those are the type of conspiracy theory topics I think Elon Musk is worried about, and others are when it comes to data privacy. So could create a lot of volatility. Technician JD says, I love tools. I'm a tool junkie, but when those tools start using you and the line needs to be drawn. Yep. I'm excited. I actually think it'll bring some really cool functionality to the iPhone. And again, profits to Apple and companies associated with it. Just makes me a little nervous to have OpenAI there. All right. Hey, Tom, good to see you. Jay Patel says, integrating OpenAI with Apple device, it can significantly expand its reach and usability, tapping into markets over two. But yep, exactly. And that's, Patel, that's why we're seeing this chart do this today. On a day when everybody else was really struggling, Apple was just like this beacon of just profits today. Let's see. I don't know if it'll show it here. Usually you won't see Apple on the hot list because they'd have to move like double digits. Yeah, we didn't get a big double-digit move today, but certainly was your most, almost your most volatile or most traded one out there. Was second with 170 million shares traded. Nvidia actually putting in 220 million. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But all in all, I think this is good for business, but I don't know how this war is going to be settled. I don't know how this is going to ultimately turn out between Elon Musk and Apple. If Elon Musk bangs that drum loud enough, what will happen is I think regulators may step in. And this could be the issue. Although if Apple can prove that they've sufficiently encrypted that data, kind of partitioned what OpenAI can get access to, then I don't see our elected officials having any problem letting that utilization go through. Oliver, I've been a skeptic with Apple from the very beginning. I hate Apple because I always lost money when I traded it back in the late 90s. So mine's a personal vendetta and grudge against Apple. Apple or any company could run an instance of an AI systems on their networks and limit who has availability, not open to everyone like AI chat systems. Correct. And that's what Apple has been saying, is they're saying, well, we're encrypting that. They don't have access to it. And they actually said that you, the user, would have the permission on what you want to share with OpenAI, which, that's a great feature and function if you trust it. And I just have a hard time trusting those features are built in. Apple has fallen behind in AI terms. Absolutely. And I think that's what this is a reflection of. It's that OpenAI is just such the leader out there. Let's just integrate them into our platforms. Particularly what you're seeing now is the next step, and I showed you this one with Sora, is that next step of innovation for AI, which, of course, this is with OpenAI as well. Let's go to I'll see if I can just bring this up. They may need updates. I was hoping to get access to OpenAI's Sora model, but let's see. I don't know if I can get it here. Not even sure if this is it. I'll have to wait, and I'll look at this one a little bit later on and see if I can find the Sora. But now you have it doing with AI, with graphics. You have it doing with text and speech and writing, all that stuff. I mean, huge improvement from a productivity perspective. And as there was Andres or Jay Patel, this opens it up to even more people around the world. So I think a lot of people may actually start buying Apple devices just because of this integration, right? Do we see this with Android yet? Not yet. Android now is going to have to make this move, and there's a first-to-market advantage. So if you're the first one to really integrate a full AI application and all your applications on your phone are connected to this centralized AI infrastructure, that's a huge win. So again, Apple, I think, if anybody here is long Apple, I can't trade Apple, but if you are long Apple, I think you got a pretty good run ensuing here. Now today, obviously up 7.26%. Vaulted those markets higher, especially when you look at the end of the day numbers of the NASDAQ, only up 0.69%. Yeah, the vast majority of that happening because of Apple today. Now, when the phone dates get released, when's a new upgrade, when's the integration actually going to happen, that will be when we really start to see these moves happen, depending on what the sales numbers will be. But I can assure you that over the next, few months, as they work on this integration, they're going to be coming up with some amazing hype videos, particularly when they make the announcement to release the new iPhone. They'll have some epic new features and functionality that all of us will be salivating over, whether that's AI-infused trading applications, selection process, or just have AI write my emails to my boss or work or whatever. Pretty amazing. No problem there, Oliver. He says, I think Samsung's version of AI will be way better. Sorry, I'm Team Samsung. Don't apologize. You guys don't have to apologize for anything on here. As long as we're not hostile towards each other, you can all have beliefs. I don't know enough about Samsung. I've always had Apples because my employer paid for the iPhone. So you got a free iPhone, what are you going to pick? I'm taking the iPhone. I am more of a PC guy, so I still would rather have Microsoft, a PC than a MacBook Pro. But I'm a weirdo. I just don't trust them. Lisa says, so in reality, what do I need AI for right now? I use ChatGPT sometimes, but not all the time. Not right now anyway. So what would happen is it will, thanks Big Eb, I says iPhone 16 slated for September of this year. Wow. What you would be seamlessly using your ChatGPT even more. Now it really is a question of, are these services going to be charged? For example, some of us pay for ChatGPT so we can have access to, 4.0 and things like that. It would probably be integrated directly into things like your email. Your phone screens would, morph to be more efficient for you based off your usage without you doing anything, which is kind of clean things up for you and make it more functionally based. I think that one of the productivity things that I would probably use it for more is I'm a typer. I like to type emails and things. However, I think the technology will get to the point where we'll just say, write me a letter to my boss about a 30-day notice for termination, as I will be taking another job with a different company. Make it very polite, make it very clear, and just let it do its thing, right? Which you can do on your PC, type that all in, but now it'll just be voice pieced for me to go talk to OpenAI and have it schedule things. OpenAI, schedule an appointment for my doctor, make sure you pick up all my groceries, and I want it to be on Instacart. I want 2 dozen eggs. All those things can all be bundled into OpenAI, which is pretty cool. Tom says Andrew has a lot of OpenAI already running. It's Google and G, and it's so much baked in. Good. Sell me on it, guys. We should have a show where I bring on a couple Samsung lovers and a couple Apple lovers and sell me on it. Because I feel like I want to be Team Samsung. If I could get away from Apple, I would. I have my Apple Watch. Has probably now hooked me in even more because I do love having a digital watch. But I would rather have a Samsung. There's something that's open and more transparent. I would rather go with Samsung. Of course, that's now a Chinese company. Here we go. The debates. They go on and on and on. All right, so let me run through our top 7 markets here, 8 markets. The big week one out there today was crypto. Crypto for the past 4 days really had a pretty ugly slide. This is Bitcoin, which peaked mid-vacation for me, I guess. Peaked at about last Wednesday. Today we're down 3.06%. We were down almost 5% today for Bitcoin. And a lot of cryptos have been sliding recently, but not that bad. This still lines up. I'm going to zoom out here. You guys, I drew these lines on expecting Bitcoin to drop or go sideways for the next few months. And I really thought that would kind of lead us into maybe August or September, where we start to see the real rally begin. And we got this real sharp rally started in May, which I was excited. Certainly I don't mind if it goes up. I just thought we would be going sideways to down a little bit longer. I did think we'd stay right above this 52,000 mark, so I'll just extend this out. I do think that that's still in play. This downtrend line that we drew in place, connecting the peaks from March 14th, and, kind of the peaks from right around April 9th, that still shows a downward slope. Even though we've broken that one, we have not really made a new high. We kind of peaked out at that April 9th high. And, again, I'm still in that boat of probably more bearish to sideways action, at least for the next couple months. I hope it doesn't. Great, I hope it surges, but I just feel like there's just some weaker pressure there because of all the good news that's happened. We had that big pump up because of the Bitcoin ETFs and the halving. And here we are slowly drifting. All right. You correct me, Tom. He says Samsung is South Korean. I would actually trust that a lot more than a Chinese product. I thought Samsung was Chinese. All right. I learned something new today. Lori, you like your Samsung watch? Do you have a Samsung watch and a phone? Connect those two? Because that's the key for me. I love checking messages on my watch when I'm wearing it. Try not to wear it too much, but... all right, so that was number 8 on the list. That was the worst, and of course, that's been 4 days, so pretty bad. Corporate is headquartered in Sunwon-si. I should have known that because I was looking at going there when I went to Korea just to kind of check it out. But I for some reason, I thought it was just a plant there. I thought they were based out of China. So I'm wrong. Made my first mistake since being back from vacation. See what happens? Man. All right, our 10-year. Big M, I was thinking about you, bud. I was thinking about you and your call for under 4%. And I was curious, what are the factors from your perspective that you think would push this down below 4%? You guys know my take on it. I've been bullish on it. I think we're going to see yields continue to move higher just because we're getting record number of bonds being sold by the Treasury Department, by the Fed to clean their balance sheet up. That's more inventory in the markets, plus the Treasury is selling more, long-term bonds than they ever have. That also is going to require a higher yield, right? So I'm just curious what type of, what were the components that you were looking at that you said by the end of the year we should be down below 4%. Of course, we have a beer wager on this. This is heavy money. We all got big skin in the game on this one, but I'm curious, Big Ed, what are your factors to why you think that this can be below 4%? All right, so that was your number 7, down 0.09%, pretty much unchanged. Right? There's really nothing that special with that 10-year. The important part here is you're seeing a shift. So you have the intermediate was back from here in December, and that was kind of trending to the upside. Now we're getting a counter trend trade. So the short term has been down. We're making lower lows, lower highs. So kind of curious to see where this goes from here. If we get down below $3.99, I'll gladly buy you a beer. Russell 2000 down 0.40%. It was down a bit more than that today, but you have 2 days in a row where you have these hammer formations at the bottom of really a 3-week downtrend for the Russell 2000. So if we get any follow through from our markets, the Russell may have a pretty nice run tomorrow. For those of you who are looking, maybe not tomorrow, but over the next couple of days, for those of you that look at the way that I trade, you could put your line right across these highs here and say if the Russell 2000 futures tomorrow get above 2038, then I'd be looking to go long on that. And of course, it has to open below that level and then rally, not the contrary, right? You need to, oh, that's why it's happening. Let's get this. Okay. It needs to open up below that 2038 mark and then rally up, and that'll be a long entry for that one. That was number 6. Number 5, dollar index, which continues its run for the past 3 days. Been a real nice move, although you are coming to overhead supply here. The good news for any of us who have been bullish on the dollar is we finally broke these, made some new highs, which is good. Okay, that's a good thing. Particularly if you're long on the dollar, that's not great for the markets because, of course, a strong dollar is weak for our markets. It pushes things down. But we are seeing a break of that high we established back here on the 30th of May. That's great. That said, look at the formation of today's price action. It's almost a shooting star. Almost. Not quite, but almost. So it's one thing to keep, it'd be something to keep your eye on this one tomorrow. If you do see some weakness come back in and all of a sudden that dollar starts to rip, your entry would be below 105. Call it 105.10. And let's see, I've got top 4 now, S&P 500, which had a wonderful about face, as you can see here, all-time highs for the S&P 500. Had a long bottoming tail today. It was down about 0.9% at one point, I believe, when I looked at it this morning. I was busy building content because I had class this morning. 0.68. So 0.68 slide this morning was the NASDAQ that was, or Russell that was down 0.9%. So this is technically what's called a hanging man formation. It's not the most powerful candle out there, but it is one of those Japanese candlesticks that they say is a reversal pattern. And this is a weird one. I don't believe that. If you guys have ever heard of a hanging man formation, it's the exact same shape and structure as a hammer. It's just at the top of an uptrend. And according to Steve Nissen, who wrote the book on Japanese candlesticks, this is a reversal pattern. I strongly disagree. This is a continuation pattern because if we go through, let me see if I can draw a picture of this here for you, just so we have that that under our belts. Let me add a new slide here, change that layout, and here you go. Okay, so let's move you over here. So let me just draw 2 little pictures here. If we have a, come on, pen. Great. There it is. If you have a downtrend and you have this pattern right here, that's a hammer formation. Real simple. Draw a line across the top, wait for it to open up, and then buy on the breakout to the upside. Right? That's the easy thing. When you have something that's been trending up like this, and now all of a sudden you have this hammer formation, it's the hanging man formation. My line's not straight. I know. Well, what does this tell you? On the example on the left, I'm using this continued sell-off, this arrow, this down tail here. That was all one gigantic red candle. And then all of a sudden, the buyers came back in, pushed it up, and it closed right here at the bottom of it since it's red. That's a very bullish sign because momentum is presently to the upside. Well, if that's the same story here where sellers pushed this down, at one point this was a giant red candle, and then buyers came in and had the last word and pushed this thing to the upside, come on. This is also a bullish thing. It means momentum is currently to the upside. So I don't know how Steve Nissen can justify calling this a reversal pattern. I read through his arguments, and it doesn't make much sense to me. I don't think that's a reversal pattern. But that is what we're seeing on the S&P 500, which to me is a bullish sign. So in this case, I'd actually be looking at bullish activity for the S&P tomorrow. It's funny, you got bullish setup for the Russell, you got bullish setup here for the S&P. If you break through all-time highs, which are going to be right, I'll get rid of that. Oops. If you get rid of those all-time highs, which is 53.86 and a quarter, then there we go. Might be some more upside movement. But, it's tough. The question as far as what tomorrow's catalyst will be, you already had Apple being a huge catalyst for our markets, of course, being up 7%. That's going to bring up the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. What's that next pop going to be? Is it a sympathy rally from other companies out there that are going to be, kind of keeping up with the Joneses, if you will, catching up with Apple? I'm not sure what that next catalyst will be, but momentum certainly looked good today. Here's top three. Bronze medal goes to gold, which was up 0.02% after this really wicked red candle here on Friday's action. Still not enough for me to get in. I'll tell you about some of the things I'm looking at here in just a second. But you had pretty much an indecision day today, relatively unchanged, down 0.02%. Second place, crude oil up 0.21%. So we had that nice big breakdown. Looked like it was going to continue to keep on going lower here. We had some levels mapped out, which are going to be down around the 72 mark. We got pretty close to it, and now we're bouncing. Look, for this to go anywhere, it's got to make some new highs. It just has not done that yet. We have these, multiple yellow boxes on your screen here, which identify kind of overhead supply points where it may have some difficulty going higher. But for now, even though I'm long-term bullish, I can't argue this short-term downtrend and continue to look for maybe buying opportunities at demand zones on this one. So for me to really be confident in this as a upside move, I need to break that high we saw just a couple of weeks ago, which would be on the 29th of May, and that high price was $80.62. So until we get above $80.62, I'm still not a believer that this uptrend is going to continue back on up. And then finally, of course, there's a reason for this. Your NASDAQ was your big victor. It wasn't because of any other company, really. It wasn't the S&P, it wasn't Microsoft or Nvidia, etc. It was just all Apple. This is what happens when you're that much weighted on an index and you gain 7%. So you had a 0.69% move up today for the NASDAQ 100, which is pretty much all day. I can break it down to a 5-minute time frame here so you guys can see. In the early morning, there was a little bit of negativity, but just off to the races all day. Unfortunately, I was too busy trying to get my life back in order after a 7-day reprieve on a cruise ship, so I missed pretty much everything out there today. Now, two things. Hello, Elaine. So two things that you got to look at from a trade perspective. Number one, we were talking about the Nvidia split. So, of course, now Nvidia did that 10-to-1 split, currently trading at 120.91. And I did not, because I didn't have access to it, I did not go short. I still think that this is going to have a sell-off here over the next couple days. Unfortunately, I've got a bad data glitch on my screen. You guys can see here this really long topping tail on yesterday's trading activity. That's when that split happened. That's a problem. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. The way you can tell is if you go here to go to a 5-minute time, go to a 1-minute time frame even, and zoom out, you see that at no point did Nvidia get up to $190. But for some reason, there is a glitch on the daily time frame here for Nvidia. You can see it actually got much higher than 190, got to 195.95 on yesterday's trading activity, but that never happened. So unfortunately, let me see if I can do this for you just so we can kind of erase that data and look at the legitimate stuff. Let's go to the high that we established back here on what day is that? Snap mode it. All right, so now we've got a high across there, and I can go back to a daily time frame. And there you can see that's kind of your all-time high. It was 125.53. Now that's split adjusted. Remember, they did a 10-to-1 reverse split. 10-to-1 split. So that gives you kind of a technical all-time high of $1,250. And now we're at 125. So I think you're going heading down. I think a little bit of people are going to be taking some profit on this one. I thought it would happen today, but I think over the next couple days, barring some extraordinary news, we should see this actually start to drift lower and lower and lower here on Nvidia. But it is what it is. Right now, looking really strong. Surprised that it's holding this even after it did that 10-to-1 split. But just, put yourself in the shoes of the average investor. You had 100 shares of Nvidia at $1,200, and now all of a sudden you've got 1,000 at $120. In your mind, you think you've got 10 times as much. Of course, it's 1/10 the cost basis, but I think a lot of people take profits on that one. That Nvidia bad print happened at yesterday's close, which was after the split and happened. TradeStation corrected on its morning. So I don't know how to do that on TradingView, but on other platforms I've had, you could actually go in and edit the data points out. So we can probably... You said it was after the market close. I'm going out 1 minute into the extended hours, trading session hours, and I don't see anything there that shows that glitch. That's kind of weird. It happens, but just for anybody out there, this is a quick way. If you see something like that on your trading, you're like, whoa, what the heck happened here? That thing's way out of the ordinary. Split it up in a 1 minute time frame and look and see if you see that topping tails like that. Because clearly, when you look at this chart first glance, it's like, oh my goodness, what a monumental day for Nvidia. Yeah, no. That would have made for one of the record gaining days ever. Let's see what that would have been, a gain of roughly 62% intraday gain for Nvidia. Not out of the ordinary. I guess it could happen, but it didn't happen yesterday. Glitch similar to Berkshire Hathaway losing. Oh man, yeah, right. You imagine. And here's the funny thing. So Berkshire Hathaway had a glitch. I think it was down 97% or 98%. Not quite 100, but you know, who's counting when you're down 97 or 98%? Can you imagine holding your shares of Berkshire Hathaway and all of a sudden it goes down 90%, 95%, when just your heart would just sink, That probably caused a cardiac arrest because a lot of the shareholders for Berkshire Hathaway are really old people. There were a lot of them on the cruise. A lot more on the cruise I was on. Oh, you know, the funny part about a cruise ship and old people is you got these really narrow hallways. So if you get stuck behind someone who's really old, it takes a long time to get places. You know, it's not like the Autobahn where you have a passing lane. All right, what else am I going to do there? Yeah, so I can't remove it from this one. Let's see. What else I got in here? Short Nvidia yesterday, mainly to hedge my position. Good. Smart, Big Eb. You know, worst case, you might lose out on a little bit of gain, but the probability, given historical actions on things like Nvidia, the probability is higher that you're going to see prices go down from here and see some profit taking. That does not in any way, shape, or form make me bearish on the company. Again, I think Nvidia is poised to be one of the biggest companies in the world. It may overtake Apple and Microsoft here soon. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, that split. Let me see here. I'm going to bring up the. I should keep this on a thumbnail or a bookmark for me. Which cruise line? I was on Royal Caribbean. I was on the Quantum of the Seas, a massive boat. It's funny. It had I think it has 8 or 9 restaurants. Oh, are you no? Spammers. All right, I'll let you. You haven't done anything offensive. You haven't done anything offensive yet. I block spammers. Just letting you know there. Let's see. So I was going to go and bring up the scanner here, just out of curiosity, because I didn't get to look up their screener on FinViz and just go by market cap to see where the hierarchy is right now, and it's showing Nvidia's number 3. So very close. I'm curious. This must incorporate in the current valuations of Apple based off today's numbers. So it has a current market cap of 3.17 trillion. Microsoft is 3.25. We could get a leapfrog there. Mm-hmm. They say by 2026, Nvidia will be the most valuable company. Hey, Oliver, why 2026? It literally is 300 billion. If it rallies 10% from here, it will be the most valuable company in the world. So I don't think 2026 is even realistic. I think by the end of this year or next year. That's weird, Mike. I'm not sure why that is. Not sure why you don't see that data issue. Yeah, I think it'll overtake Microsoft because remember, why are Microsoft and Apple and Google and Amazon surging and Meta? They're surging because of AI and their applications using AI. Nvidia is making the things that make AI. So without the pieces, it's like running to California for the gold rush, right? It's almost like Microsoft and Apple and Google are rushing for the gold rush. They're sprinting out there to claim their stake and we're going to be the leader. Whereas Nvidia's over there going, you need shovels? You need dynamite? You need, what do you need? I got all the things you want to get to your gold rush, but you're not digging that gold without my products and services. So right now, Nvidia is selling the picks and shovels, which is a great business to be in when everyone's trying to get to that gold rush. So I think Nvidia will, my guess is by the end of this year, Nvidia will be bigger. I know it seems crazy, but I do think that'll be the case. So do you try out every bar on the ship? I did not. So I didn't buy the liquor pass, Jim. It was super expensive. It was like 140 or 150 bucks a day, which is just insane. And I don't really need to drink that much. I did smuggle on a bottle of tequila, which, by the way, here's for anybody going on a cruise ship. Here's how you do that. If you try to bring on a bottle of alcohol, they stop you right away. They'll confiscate your bottle, and you can pick it up when you leave, which is a total nightmare. If you try to do something where you pour it into you could open up like a 2-liter game or 2-liter bottle and fill it with like vodka or something. They'll shake it to see if it has bubbles. If it doesn't have bubbles, they'll throw it away. I just took my regular water bottle and I just filled it up, and I made it through the scanner 3 times with that, no problem. So I just grabbed the bottle of tequila on shore and had a little tequila here and there. It was fine. Did you go on the Inland Passage Cruise. So we were supposed to go to Sitka, which I was really excited about, but that got canceled because the winds were so bad. We got a late departure. So really, we just did Skagway, we did Juneau, and we did Victoria Island. So it was fun. It was a nice cruise. I definitely really enjoyed it. It was good to spend some time with some family and meet some new friends. So yeah, I was a fan of the Caribbean or the Royal Caribbean boat. Pretty amazing. I would like to do an adult-only cruise, just because the kids were just everywhere, and it's nice to have an adult-only place on the pool deck, which is fun. But I think that Alaska's a trap, personally. I think just the cruise itself felt like the excursion prices were just ridiculous. They wanted $799 per person to rent a car in Skagway, which probably has 10 car rentals. So, supply and demand, I get it. But the cruise ship really jacked up prices astronomically, and I thought that was kind of, I don't know, I didn't like that. If you want to do the excursions, and a lot of the excursions didn't happen, and people were frustrated, so there we go. So, Jim, no, I did not try every bar. I had a couple bars I enjoyed, but I think according to their website, there's like 9 restaurants and 29 bars on that boat. It's almost like a booze cruise. All right, and let's see. So I think I got through everything. What I want to get to, I'm not going to do the earnings calendar, but I will go to the economic because tomorrow's a huge day. I'm going to try to get Bill Addis on the program on Thursday, so hopefully you guys will join us for that one and send in your questions, because we do have an FOMC statement on Wednesday. That is, of course, tomorrow. So here's your calendar for tomorrow. You can see you've got the CPI numbers coming out before market opens. This is huge. It's really, 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 really big day is going to be what this inflation number looks like. And I'll show you the month over month here. This is the month over month expectations is 0.3%. And we've kind of been stuck there. We were 0.3, 0.4, so it's been pretty good. But it has not been down to the 0.2 level. Remember, the Fed needs this at 0.2. They want to get 2% inflation. That would be equals to roughly 0.2% month over month CPI number. So right now the expectation is 0.3. As you recall, a couple weeks ago, we had the core PCE price index number, which came out much lower than expected, which is great for the market. We'll see if that follows suit here. Again, if we do get a lower than expected core CPI number, well, it's the core, which strips out food and energy. If you keep food and energy, prices have dropped even more. So they're already expecting it to drop, as we saw with the core PCE a couple weeks ago. Anything that's like even more of a surprise, if we got like 0.0, for example, these markets are going to rip. And it already feels like the indexes, based off the candle formations, are looking for bullishness tomorrow anyway. So it feels like this is setting up for a bullish day. But again, you're going to have to wait and see how the market perceives this data and exactly what it is when it comes out. So that's before markets open, 5:30 a.m. Pacific. And then the real big stuff, at 11 a.m., we're going to get our rate announcement. It's foregone conclusion right now. We will stay at 5.5%. It's more important what happens at the 11:30 meeting. So 11:30, I'll be watching this one tomorrow and taking notes so I can give you guys the rundown of what actually happened and what he said and what the press asked him. But that will be the most important part, because that is going to start to set the stage for what's happening next. Where are we going next with regards to rates? And remember, because that last core PCE price index 2 weeks ago, it really felt like inflation was softening quite a bit. Now, I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but the number that the Fed's going off of is core PCE. So if that continues to drop, then Jerome Powell may say things like, yes, we're targeting the end of this year for some rate cuts, and make it more definitive as opposed to wishy-washy like he normally does. And that's pretty much it. You can see if you're trading the Australian dollar, you do have their unemployment rate numbers coming out, which is expected to get down to 4%. So things looking pretty good down there in Australia as well. Hey, thanks, Gio. I missed you guys as well. It's funny, I thought about trying to do some shows there because I had plenty of time to do it from the boat, but it was just so intermittent internet and really rocky ride. Did I get an upgrade to a balcony? I did. I got a balcony. I enjoyed the balcony a lot, actually. It was cold, really cold, but it was great to go out there. And, I don't know if anybody understands how long this boat is. So the boat itself is 1,141 feet long. I think, if I'm not mistaken, was it 180 feet wide? I think it might be 180 something feet wide. And, it's a monster. Well, out my balcony on the cruise ship, I'm just sitting there and I see water shoot up in the air. I'm like, that's not normal. I go outside, humpback whales. Saw some humpback whales off the balcony window, and there were a couple of humpback whale sightings on the boat, which is pretty cool. I didn't see any orcas. As we were driving through Skagway going out to Emerald Lake, We did see a baby moose on the side of the road. Almost hit him. That would have been a really bad story. But yeah, cute little moose out there. Saw some nice dolphin riding the bow of the boat and coming right out the boat. But yeah, it was fun. It was good to get out there. If you haven't been there yet, I would certainly put it on your list at least once to go. It is stunningly beautiful. Like, it's just jaw-dropping, especially if you go to Skagway. Here's my little secret to you. If you book a cruise, forget the excursion on the boat, call the Skagway now. I can give you, if you want, I can actually give you the number of the guy I rented the car from. It is completely crazy. I'll tell you a real quick story here because I know you guys probably want to hear more about markets than Alaska. But I tried to get a car. Everything was booked. And I finally I called this number, and the guy, I said, do you have any cars left? He goes, yeah, I have one. He's like, can I book that? He goes, yeah, sure. What's your name? I go, Merlin. He's like, okay. See you when you get here. And I was just like, wait, what? That seemed weird. So I ran around trying to find the car place. I couldn't. It was not where Google Maps put it. It was well off the path. I walk in. It's a laundromat, a convenience store, a repair shop, a gas station, and a car rental place, all in one. I walk in, the guy's got this funky looking fedora, he has an ascot on his neck, he's got studded like patent leather boots, very interesting looking dude with these funky old glasses, did not fit what I thought Alaska would be. And mind you, he never took my credit card information on the phone or nothing. I said, I'm here for the car rental. He says, oh, Merlin, yeah, okay. He takes out an 8x11 piece of paper, asks for my driver's license and my credit card, he just writes down the numbers in illegible handwriting, and then gives me the car keys and says, have a great time. I didn't sign any documents. I signed no documentation whatsoever. I could have just disappeared with that car and no one would have been the wiser. But we got that car. It was like $299 for the rental, whereas the Jeep was $799 for the day. And we drove that thing almost 200 miles and hit all the big tourist spots. It was the best thing to do. It was a brand new car too. It was a 2024 Toyota RAV4 hybrid. Really cool trip. Did not see the northern lights. We tried. We were looking every night. Cloud cover was pretty bad. You could see light on the horizon, but there wasn't the cool stuff in the sky. I was kind of bummed about that. That would have made my trip for me. But if you guys want, you can email me. I'll tell you who that guy was. It was a pretty cool trip. And the excursion was probably the best because it was self-directed and we didn't get, screwed by the car rental company or the cruise ship. It was just a fun, good experience, and there's a lot of really cool things to see out there, especially old gold mining towns and things like that. Sounds like a 70s movie. It was crazy. Like we all got in the car, and I turned to my dad and I go, "Did that just happen?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "He didn't ask me for. I signed no damage waiver. We didn't do a vehicle inspection. I signed nothing." And we just got in the car and went, came back, and he was super cool about it. And it was fun. He is intelligent. He just profiled me and thought, okay, here's a guy with his father, probably not going to drive recklessly. The funny part was we went out to this really cool fjord, overlooking these incredible valleys and just snow-capped mountains. I started doing donuts in the parking lot. And my dad's like, what the hell are you doing? He's in the backseat freaking out. I had to, Dad. I had to. All right, let me see. Maybe I'm going to try to end this before we do a commercial break here. You're going to get ads in 34 seconds. So I'll wrap that up. We went through your economic calendar announcements. Earnings-wise, there's nothing big for tomorrow, so I'll leave it at that. I don't think I'm going to have a guest tomorrow, so we'll keep Bill Addis for Thursday if I can get him on the program. If you got something you want me to discuss on tomorrow's show, you know what to do. Send them to me at TraderMerlin@gmail.com or put them down below any of the YouTube videos. I'll try to catch up on all the markets and everything tomorrow and put some new trades on. Until then, happy trading, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Sorry I missed you all, and I'm glad to be back. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.